Hi everyone, this is Dr. Tracy McCarthy. Thank you for joining us for our continuing discussion on Babylon. What we're going to be turning our attention to now is the topic of the mitre and the MOOR. We're going to be looking at some symbology, some etymology, theology / mythology as we do a transliteration of the mitre and look at the relationship between the mitre and the MOOR and the Roman MITHRA solar deity. We're going to be looking at that and the relationship to Babylon and the conquering of the indigenous people in the West and the colonization. If you are not familiar with the mitre, it is the ecclesiastical headdress. And so you can see that it's spelled in different ways. You see the M-I-T-R-E and then the M-I-T-E-R. And so this is the headdress that is worn by Roman Catholic bishops and abbots and some Anglican and Lutheran bishops according to Britannica. And you can see the shape of it on the screen. And here you can see two examples of the mitre. With respect to etymology, the mitre is synonymous with MITHRA, and you can see MITHRA on the screen wearing the Phrygian cap. In this depiction of Saint Maurice, there are a few things that are noteworthy with respect to the headdress. And so you can see the mitre, and behind the mitre, that ecclesiastical headdress, you see what appears to be a solar type of crown. It doesn't have the spikes, but that is a manifestation of a solar crown. And so it's that halo looking crown. And so not only do you see that, but you see Saint Maurice with a garland of sorts, and that also is a crown. But then behind Saint Maurice, you see another solar crown. While Maurice has been referred to as Saint Maurice, and some indicate that he might have been a knight, there are many indications that Saint Maurice was actually royalty. You see that with the solar crown on the left, and then on the right-hand side, you see this heavily embellished dress that is suggestive of royalty. There is also a clear etymology relationship between the mitre and the MOOR. And so as we move into the deconstruction and the correlation between the mitre and the MOOR, you can see on the screen the transliterations of mitre ending with MOOR. And so you see the M-I-T-R-E, the M-I-T-E-R, you see MITHRA, which is synonymous with M-E-H-R, and then finally M-O-H-R. Now, of course, this is a huge leap going from mitre to MOOR. But when you look in this dictionary of the Persian and Arabic languages, what you see is that mer with the E is synonymous with MOOR with the O. So the M-E-H-R is synonymous with M-O-H-R. And we're going to see how both of these are synonymous with mitre and MITHRA. And here you can see more clearly the relationship between the M-O-H-R and the M-E-H-R. And so one is a Persian version of the word, Iranian, and then the other one is the Romanized version of the word. And so the M-O-H-R is the Persian version, and then it's Romanized as M-E-H-R. It's also known as M-O-H-U-R and M-U-R. And this place is a location in Iran. And here you can see that the mitre is understood as a form of a headband or a turban. And so you can see the variations there. But also, when you look down below in that second line, you can see that Mithras, MITHRA, MITRA, and MER, all of these are synonymous with the mitre. And here you see very specifically that the MEHR, M-E-H-R, is an alternate spelling of MOOR, M-O-H-R, and it's a city in Iran. And as you can see here, all of this is tied to a divinity in Zoroastrianism. And so you can see MITHRA again is an alternative name for MITHRA. And so MOOR is an alternative name for MITHRA. And so MOOR in this context is understood as this divinity, this deity. MOOR is also indicated as the 7th month of the year with respect to the Iranian and Zoroastrian calendars. And so you also see that this Moor's Day or Mur's Day is an Iranian festival celebrating MITHRA. Britannica provides some clarity with respect to the worship of MITHRA, also known as Mithraism. And MITHRA was the Iranian god of the sun, justice, contracts or oaths, and war. MITHRA was also known in the Roman Empire during the 2nd and 3rd centuries, and this deity, according to this, was honored as the patron of loyalty to the emperor. The World History Encyclopedia provides additional clarification about the spread of Mithraism. Mithraism was identified, according to this narrative, as a mystery cult in the Roman world, and it spread throughout the whole Roman Empire. Now, this deity, this Indo-Aryan deity, Mithras, was also known as the god or deity of the contract and also the deity of friendship. And so there was a focus for this deity on contract and order. The discussion goes on to indicate that Mithraism involved favoring imperial power, and so Mithraism was involved in empire building. You also see here a discussion about this secret entity meeting in caves hidden away from the public, and so that's where they worship. It indicates also that over 200 Mithras temples have been found stretching from Syria to Britain, but many are concentrated in Italy on the Rhine and the Danube. Now we're going to turn our attention to the surname MOOR, spelled M-O-H-R. That is again synonymous with MITRA. That is synonymous with MITHRA. And so what we see here, consistent with that spread coming out of Iran going through Europe, is that the origins have been seen in Germany, Ireland, and Scotland. It's considered a local name from the German-speaking Austrian Empire. It is also noted that this collective had many branches and that this was a collective of status and influence. They were noted among the ranks of the nobility. The MOOR/MITHRA settled originally in the United States in the 18th century, and so you see a number of individuals coming in as early as 1709. This name MOOR also had another entry that focused on Scotland and Ireland and provided the variations for the name M-O-H-R, again referring to this idea of stately or noble. And if you recall from previous discussions, that M-O-R translates to head or top of something. And in terms of spread, you can see that this surname was first found in Munster in 1172. And here you can see some of the transliterations of M-O-H-R, including the traditional M-O-O-R-E, M-O-R-E, MOOR, and then you see the Mac in front of some of them, and then the O in front of some of them. There's also a motto for the collective known as MOOR, and it is victorious forever. This is similar to Sol Invictus, that is the invincible sun. As we wrap up this portion of the discussion of Babylon, we see the correlation between the MITRA and the MOOR and this religion known as Mithraism, which essentially is the religion of the MOOR. We've looked at issues related to symbology and etymology, along with theology/mythology. We also looked at the relationship of all of this to Rome and Babylon, and how this entire dynamic spread from Babylon via imperialism to places such as the Isles and beyond.